Hello, welcome to today's episode of Juicing the Numbers, your statistics and sports podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Joshua Tracy.
I'm Corwin Heller.
And we did it, folks. We managed to record on a Sunday for your Monday episode for your listening pleasure. We did it. We figured it out, what this show is all about. And we're here to do it. It is 9:30 in the morning on Sunday, June 12th here on the East Coast. We're doing this early because we have plans, but we wanted to make sure we actually did this. And it is the day after, is the morning, that is a morning of morning, I should say, for myself. It's my New York Rangers, our New York Rangers have been eliminated from the Stanley Cup Finals. In what was really a devastating conclusion to their season. The Rangers had the worst 4-game stretch I've ever seen them have in these last 4 games against the Lightning, as they scored 2 goals in 1 game and then 1 goal in the remaining 3 after scoring 9 combined goals in the first 2 games and being wildly lifeless, including a stretch of over 200 minutes where they scored but 1 even strength 5-on-5 goal. Ugly, very, very ugly. It's a young team going up against the twice now defending champs in sequence. So, I mean, the Lightning are super duper good. And honestly, if your team's great at the power play and not great at 5-on-5, you're probably not going to win the Stanley Cup because you have to be good at 5-on-5.
Mm-hmm.
But great goaltending from both sides, which we were expecting. It doesn't look like that was going to be the case after the first couple of games because of Vasilevsky's rust. But once he shook that off, this was a fucking duel between the two sides. And it's also crazy because in the last 2 games of the set, Igor had only allowed in, I think it was 3 goals between the 2. Yeah, I want to say, no, it was 4 goals total because one of those was an empty net. 4 goals. And man, all 4 of them were like stupid, brain dead, stupid goals. Like, I can't believe that's what got in, stupid goals, which really just kind of adds insult to injury because you had a dude looking like a fucking wizard in the net there and then just coughing up the easy ones while making all the tough ones. It's just wild. But man, what a way to go down.
I will say, as upset I am that the Lightning are going to go for a 3-peat and Josh doesn't get to root for his team in the finals, I'm not upset Jacob Trouba gets to go home. Boy, he has not done anything to redeem himself over these last couple of games. And it's not fun to root against a team for one player, but I feel like I've done it for many teams for many years. So devil's advocate, fuck that guy.
Yeah. I don't think he has a lot of favor curried right now with Rangers fans either.
No. Looking ahead, what do the Rangers look like next year? How obviously the kid line's getting older, they're getting more experience, but who are they losing? Who's sticking around?
That I'm not really sure of. If we're being completely honest here, I do not remember who's on the end of their contracts with the Rangers this year. So I know that a good number of these guys are going to be around next year just by virtue of the fact that their contracts are still viable. But I'll tell you what.
At Spot Track, Ryan Strome, Andrew Kopp.
Oh, he's gone.
Frank Vatrano are all unrestricted free agents.
All 3 of those guys.
Kakko is restricted free agent. I imagine he would be back. Tyler Mott.
Not back.
And then,
yeah, Ryan Strome needs to get shot into the fucking sun. Also, Gerard Gallant's going to have to answer some tough fucking questions. Because why on fucking earth he decided to scratch Kakko for game 6 and start Strome when Strome has been struggling all series when he's been on ice and has struggled to even be on ice because of his injury. And then, no shocker, literally didn't finish the game because of his injury. Whereas Kakko could have actually played. I mean, like, I don't know how the fuck you're supposed to justify that. I mean, Ryan Strome in his 5 games had a total time on ice of 73 minutes. Kaapo Kakko had been on ice only 54 minutes. But in that, Kakko at least could put together 2 points this series, whereas Strome didn't collect a single fucking one. Not a one.
Yeah, that's
nothing.
tough.
He was on the ice for 50% more time than Kakko was and had nothing to show for it.
I mean,
as we
he
all
was
know,
really good
as all
last
Rangers
year.
fans know, by the fact that he missed that wide open net to tie the game down in Tampa and or to tie the game here at MSG in Game 5. Sorry, you were saying.
Yeah, I mean, he was very good last year. He had a but he had a strong regular season this year. I only know this because he was on my fantasy team. But yeah, disappearing in the playoffs during a deep run is a tough way to get another contract with the team.
Yeah, and and I just don't think it's. Yeah, I just don't think it's happening.
Wow, Jacob Trouba makes $8 million a year.
Yes, he does.
Jesus fuck.
Yeah. So, yeah, Gallant's gonna have a couple questions. Really, as long as Igor Shesterkin's there and Mika Kreids, Panarin needs to do more next year. That's the guy I think I'm most disappointed with in this entire postseason. Is Artemi Panarin. I mean, look, I get that obviously it is tougher in the playoffs. I do. And he was tied for first with 4 other dudes in points on the series with 5. He also had a -4, which I know plus minus we shouldn't be waiting very, very much, but he was literally the only guy. Now Adam Fox had -2. But I mean, that -4 really sticks out. And his time on ice is second highest of the forwards. And the dude just disappeared for long stretches of the postseason. Just fucking disappeared. And I mean, when the offense is struggling so much to get shots on goal, not even goals, just to get shots on goal, and he's still doing the passing shit, still trying to be the selfless pass first player that he knows, and can't change his own game to accommodate what the team needs. I mean, I feel like I watched him dozens of times this especially this past series, but this whole postseason, carry the puck in on his own, get himself within 30 feet of the net, being swarmed by all 4 of like Lightning who managed to get back fast enough and try to pass it back to nobody because he got in first on a breakaway or just a carry in while the rest of the team was changing lines, and then would try to pass it out to somebody where there was nobody there. Where if you had managed to get a shot off, even if it got blocked or got defended by Vasilevsky or whomever, fuck, at least it gives your teammates time to come in and try to collect a rebound or something like that. But his passes just kept getting intercepted because there was like never anybody there and they were all through traffic. And it's like, dude, you can't just, maybe you can get away with that against shittier teams. Maybe you can get away with that against like the Coyotes, but like, dude, you can't rely on all these cross ice passes. Yeah, well, I mean, like you can't rely on all of these cross ice passes, all this fancy fucking puck work against the defending champs who have you just mobbed. Be selfish. Like, if you're not going to change, if you're Artemi Panarin, you are one of our highest paid players and you're one of the guys that we brought in to be a leader of this team. If you cannot adjust your game to help elevate the team around you, what the fuck are you doing? Genuinely, what the fuck are you doing?
I don't have an answer for you. I don't.
Just massively infuriating. So the Rangers, I fully expect to engage in an arms race this offseason. They currently, heading into 2023 season, are 19th in payroll. So I would very much so expect that to increase. They have less payroll right now than the Winnipeg Jets. That's hilarious. Oh, that's cap space. I have it sorted incorrectly. My mistake. Hold on. Wow, the Golden Knights have negative $2.3 million in cap space. That's funny.
Jorker Lant got out when the time was right.
Got fired, but yeah. Yeah, the Rangers have the 14th most cap space remaining. So yeah, there you go. I still expect that number to increase or decrease, whatever. But yeah, when they make it back to the postseason, as I would expect them to do, Panarin is a guy I really need to make strides forward. Happy with how a lot of the guys played. Philip Hedl became a star. K'Andre Miller was great. Jacob Trouba left so much to be desired.
Fuck that guy.
Yeah, and it's like it's one thing if you're pulling a Corey Perry, which is like you suck, but you are also being good at the sport right now. Like you're getting your assists, you're getting your
It's the Tom Wilson
goals. Role. Yeah, even Tom Wilson,
good player, but a dirty asshole.
Right. It's like Trouba is he's not even defending well for a lot of it. He's getting a lot of block shots in. That was very helpful. But I mean, like that was it. Block shots and throwing elbows around willy-nilly. It's not going to exactly endear you to the fan base. Anybody can block a shot. You just got to kind of lay down. But Truth. I say that like it's super easy to just eat an 85-mile-an-hour wrister.
Also true. I have two fun stats here that I want to bring up before we move on.
Lay it on me.
Corey Perry becomes the second player in NHL history to reach the Stanley Cup final in 3 consecutive seasons with a different franchise each time.
Yeah, so this year it's the Lightning. Last year it was with the Stars, and the year before that was with St. Louis.
I would imagine. I honestly don't remember who he was with. I don't know where he got traded to from the Ducks initially.
Hold on. I've got it up. Yeah. So, oh no, sorry. Last year was Montreal. The year before that, it was Dallas. Wow. I completely forgot about last season being Montreal. That season is gone from my memory.
Yeah. And from everyone's memory in Montreal.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, I was obviously rooting for the Lightning that series because I wouldn't want Montreal to win it. But I have zero recollection about that being the team. They beat. Wow. Okay.
And in tandem to that, Patrick Maroon has now won 15 playoff series in a row. 4 in 2019, 4 in 2020, 4 in 2021, 3 in 2022.
Yeah, because he was on the Blues when they won just before the Lightning started their run.
So either Pat Maroon's going to win 4 in a row or Corey Perry's going to lose 3 in a row. And I think I'd rather see Corey Perry lose 3 in a row. I'm definitely rooting against the Lightning, but
I'm actively
100%.
Rooting for the Avalanche. But
just in regard to those two players, I'd much rather see Corey Perry lose 4 in a row, 3 in a row.
Yeah, I'd much rather Corey Perry just go fuck himself. Although he does already have a Stanley Cup win, so I guess that's
Yeah.
Can't take that away from him, but it can at least hurt here at the end of his career. I would like him to hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this would be
four-time
the
champion
longest...
Patrick Maroon, though, would be outrageous.
That's absolutely hilarious.
4 consecutive time champion.
So that would be the first time it's happened, or this stretch of 3 in a row, I guess I should say, would be the first time that had really happened since the New York Islanders won 4 in a row back in 1980. There's been a couple close calls in regards to multiple consecutive championship wins, or a third, I guess, attempt. For example, Pittsburgh won back-to-back in 2016, 2017, but they did not make it in the following year. The Blackhawks
We
won 3 in like
also
6
had-
seasons.
We had 3 appearances in a row, but we lost the first one.
Yeah. Was it? No, that wasn't that stretch. It was an
09.
earlier stretch. I was gonna say, yeah, I'm getting there. That was no 09. No, because you appeared in 08 and lost, and then you won in 09. But you didn't appear in
I
07
see.
or
I see.
2010. Yeah.
Memory is hard.
That's why I'm looking at a list. If you just shut the fuck up.
Touche.
Yeah. The Red Wings won back-to-back in 97-98, didn't appear the following year. The Penguins won also back-to-backs in 91 and 92, but didn't appear again in the following year. Edmonton won back-to-backs twice in 87-88, didn't appear the following year. 84-85 did not appear the following year. So this is the first time we will have even a third trip to the Cup in a row since the Islanders' 5 straight appearances, because the Islanders made it a 5th year in a row and then lost to Edmonton at the start of the Gretzky era. But yeah, I mean, that long has felt like a thing that can't be broken, as well as a shift in, kind of like the eras of NHL hockey, because before the Islanders won 4 in a row, the Montreal Canadiens had won 4 in a row from 76 to 79, got unseated by the Islanders, who won 4 in a row, but then got unseated by the Oilers, who won 4 out of 5. And
what a fun dynasty for hockey those would have been.
The Oilers won 5 out of 7. Missed one there. Sorry, Edmonton. Yeah, just fucking stupid. Do you, if the Lightning do this, I mean, already going a 3rd time in a row hasn't happened to a major sports franchise since the Yankees, 98 to 01.
Did Golden State go to 4 in a row?
Ooh, I'm trying to even think 3 in a row.
Looking them up. 2022, 2019, 2018, they went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years in a row.
Yeah, they did.
2015 to
2019.
2019.
Yeah.
And then they're there again this year.
You know what? Yeah, they're there so much. I kind of forget they keep going.
They've had quite the dynasty. Steph Curry is a good basketball player.
Before that, the Heat had gone 1, 2, 3, 4 years in a row. And before that, the Lakers had gone 1, 2, 3 years in a row.
Yeah, basketball is different.
Yeah, basketball. This is stupid. It's the same like 6 teams just over and over and over again. Why do people like this?
LeBron James.
I mean, we're getting even before LeBron James territory. This is just fucking. All right. So either the Spurs or Lakers made the I don't know which, I guess West Coast side of the NBA made the finals every year from 1999 to 2005. It was either the Lakers or the Spurs. How is that fun? Actually, if you go even farther, every year from 1999 to 2007 was either the Lakers or the Spurs, except for one single year. Oh, sorry, to 2010. Wow. Okay. So either the Lakers or Spurs went every year from 1999 to 2010, except for 2006 when it was the Mavericks. Every year from 99 to 2010 was the Lakers or the Spurs. How is that fun?
I don't know.
That sucks. Yeah, it's literally either Greg Popovich, Phil Jackson. Pick one.
Greg Popovich.
Yeah, that's funny. Well, anyway, speaking of dynasties, we have one coming to an end here in MLB. It is the farewell tour season for Albert Pujols, who is wrapping up his career with his original team, the St. Louis Cardinals. And Manny Machado has voiced his discontent with how he's being treated on the way out. And he's absolutely fucking right. He's absolutely right. Manny Machado has pointed out that it seems like there's a real lack of fanfare around the fact that this is Albert Pujols' final season. And given the fanfare we've seen especially from some very recent like Yankee player retirements like Mariano Rivera and Derek Jeter. It's weird. It's super weird that Albert isn't getting one. And as someone who's a big fan of Albert Pujols and has, paid a lot of attention to him in his latter years to, make just, I like checking to see what milestones he hits on the way out and trying to soak up as much of his playing time that he has left. I find myself constantly forgetting this is a farewell tour because he's right. Manny Machado's right. There's not a lot of fanfare around this. It's very strange.
Do you have any ideas about why there wouldn't be? Is he coming back? Is he going to say fuck it and come back?
That's the only
otherwise,
thing. Sorry, go ahead.
He's the best player, the best hitter of, I don't want to say his generation, but of a very significant period of time in baseball.
Oh, he's got to be one of the best hitters of his generation. He's got 100 WAR. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no.
I would agree with you. If you said that, I would agree.
I don't want to say like, oh, Albert Pujols is the best player, hands down, of his generation. I don't
Top
want to
3.
start that argument.
Let's just make it easy. Yeah.
What are we doing? Derek Jeter got one.
That's the only thing I could think is maybe there's been a lack of definitivity from him and teams don't want to have a premature farewell tour. But honestly, even if that was the reason, that seems like splitting hairs. Like, all right, so you give Albert Pujols a farewell tour. You give him a first base at every stadium he goes to, or you give him a collection of bats or something like that. Like goofy shit. Like teams would give goofy shit. Yeah, jersey signed by the team, whatever. It doesn't matter. And then he doesn't retire. Oh no, just don't do anything for him the next year. That's okay. Oh no, you celebrated Albert Pujols too much. You celebrate one of the few 100 WAR players to ever exist in MLB a little bit too much. Oh no, how horrible.
Is he actually back over?
I'm going to just keep referring him to him as that because I think he deserves it.
He does, yeah. Baseball Reference should change the formula to make sure he has 100 WAR.
There should be a Pujols adjuster. It's 99.5.
It's going down still.
He's at negative 0.1 for the year. But his OPS is 104, which is the highest his OPS plus has been since 2016. That's gross. But yes, 104. He's an above average hitter.
Just not an above average
anything else
hitter.
Just not an above average anything else. Let's see. This season he has made 26 appearances at DH and 4 appearances at first base. So he's probably losing some value from his running would be my guess. Base running. It's the only thing he's going to have any significant time being. He also has 1 caught stealing. That's fucking hilarious. Oh, Albert.
I do remember that play. That was something.
Oh, Albert. Yeah, plus he grounds into a bunch of double plays. I'm sure that doesn't help him.
I can imagine.
The all-time MLB leader in grounded into double plays. 416.
Jesus, really?
All-time MLB leader. 416. Albert Pujols has not led in any statistical category except for grounded into double plays since 2010. That's kind of wild. Albert Pujols never led in a single offensive category in any way except double plays for the entirety of his time after he left St. Louis.
I want to do a WAR breakdown for his contracts in St. Louis versus his contract that he got with the Angels.
He never didn't have MVP votes with St. Louis. It was so good in St. Louis. He had only 1 year where he finished outside of the top 5. And that includes his rookie season.
That's fucking insane.
I know. God damn.
How hard would that be to do? Should we do that at a different?
Yeah, it's a whole other episode. But man, it's fucking nuts. Oh my God, it's so stupid. And then with the Angels, he only had 2 seasons with a single MVP vote, finishing 17th twice.
Jesus.
Yeah, just crazy shit. Anywho, yeah, it's strange, and I don't really get what the point of it is. Because honestly, if I was the Cardinals, I think I'd be mad too. If I was the Cardinals, I think I'd be making more of an effort, not for you to do stuff, but if I'm whoever the fuck the owner or GM of the Cardinals is, I know neither name. I would be calling teams up and being like, look, this is going to be Albert's last year. Like, he told us it was going to be his last year. If he comes back, he comes back. But let's act like this is his last year. And, do him right. Like, he's one of the most beloved people in baseball. It's not like he's a fucking Roger Clemens kind of guy where it's like, a lot of people don't like you. Like, you're kind of a dick. Steroids aside, you seem like an asshole. Like, Albert Pujols is one of the most beloved people in the game right now.
Absolutely.
Everyone loves Albert.
I love Albert.
You can't have a name like Albert and not be delightful.
There's no team in MLB that I dislike more than, other than the Dodgers and the Cardinals, and even I love Albert Pujols.
It's like, how can you fucking not, man? Like, he seems like such a fucking charmer. And so I don't think it'd be hard for the Cardinals to get other teams behind them on being like, let's show them a nice time. And it's like, could they be doing stuff that we don't see? Yeah, they could. But at the same time, like, I remember Mariano's farewell tour. It was huge.
Mm-hmm.
A team gave him a rocking chair made out of bats he had broken.
Which is unbelievable. Also, how do you get that? How do you source all those?
No clue. They could have just broken them themselves and then said, "You did this." Yeah, there you go.
Who would know?
Yeah. But like, regardless, like we've seen it. There's so many videos of these little tributes, and we're not talking about like a friendly, down on their luck team that had a bunch of really great players for a long time. We're talking about the New York Yankees. Full stop. Already one of the most hated teams in sports, and then we're talking about players who were foundations of the Yankees dynasties, like the best, most annoying time to be having to play the Yankees. And even those players got good recognition on their way out. Not all of them, Pettit and Jorge didn't get like huge, big things, but
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't put them at the same caliber as Albert Pujols. Whereas Albert Pujols is absolutely on the same caliber as Derek Jeter and Mariano Rivera.
I would say he's in a category with Mariano Rivera. I think he's a tier above Derek Jeter.
I would actually switch those around. Because Mariano Rivera is full stop the greatest closer of all time.
Right.
And I don't think Albert Pujols is the greatest first baseman or DH of all time.
I think
Mariano would be better than Albert Pujols from a positional standpoint.
I mean, I can't disagree with that, but I think they would be in 3 individual tiers then. I don't think Pujols shares a tier with Derek Jeter.
That's tough. So I know this is a lot of dead air, but this is a really good question.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's actually a really good question. All right, well, let's walk through this a little bit.
All right. So in 20 years, Derek Jeter has 71.3 WAR.
Yes.
In 22 years, Albert Pujols has 99.5. Even though I don't know if he's had positive WAR in 5 years.
Yes. However, I would point to Derek Jeter having a career offensive WAR of 96.3 in that time. He's really being hampered by his bad defense, whereas Albert Pujols has 85.6 offensive WAR in his seasons and never got dragged down for bad defense because he played positions that didn't get too harshly, wouldn't offer the accumulation of negative defense and DH significantly.
We're not talking offensive players. We're talking players.
Well, I know, but that's the thing is, because
just because you're getting dragged down by one aspect.
Well, no, right, but if we're looking at WAR as the reason, that's what I'm saying. Like, Jeter played defense and lost WAR because of it. but Albert Pujols didn't play defense. So it'd be more fair to look at them as offensive players where they are more comparable in that respect from a value standpoint.
I don't know. I think bad defense is just as bad, if not worse, than playing no defense or not a defense centric position. Regardless.
See, I'm really going back and forth on this also because I'm pretty sure you're right. I'm just trying to find what the argument, because if it was me, Jeter's defense is bad. His offense is largely very good, and his offense was good for longer than Pujols's was. But Pujols's peak is so much higher as an offensive player. And the fact that he didn't play defense obviously doesn't weigh down his WAR in the same way that it so adversely affects Jeter's, but that's also not his problem necessarily.
I mean, Derek Jeter has 3 seasons where he finished top 5 in MVP. Pujols has 3 MVPs and 9 seasons where he finished top 5.
Right. However, Jeter
10 seasons.
Jeter only has 3 seasons below a 100 OPS plus, whereas Albert Pujols, that's like the entire third part of his career.
But he also opened his career with 15 straight seasons with an OPS plus above 110.
Yeah. No, I know. That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to decide though if this puts them in different classes of player, but 20 WAR on the stat sheet really should.
I think if you look at the fact that Albert Pujols is genuinely on the Mount Rushmore of all-time hitters, you can't put Derek Jeter into that category.
But at the same time, only way for Albert Pujols to beat Jeter in Hall of Fame voting, which we can use as a placeholder for kind of like how we view the historical figures of our game, would be for Albert Pujols to be unanimous.
No, we can't chalk that up to fucking asshole writers. There's been one unanimous player, and Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, Ted Williams were not unanimous Hall of Famers. We can't put it up to the writers. The writers
I
fucking
do
suck.
actually get though. Just putting that out there. I do get why those guys weren't unanimous.
Yeah, but if you put them in now, of course they're going to be unanimous.
Right. Yeah. The issue was that they were horribly backlogged, and everyone was getting votes. There are 31 players in MLB history with 100 or more WAR. If we look at player number 32,
before we move on, could you see a world where Albert Pujols is not a unanimous Hall of Famer?
Oh, of course he's not going to be unanimous. There's going to be some fucking asshole. But that's the thing, is like we're at the point where we have such an understanding of who players are and how that impact will be viewed long term. Like there's a real argument to be made that if you were voting for the Hall of Fame in 1976, that like maybe you just like we don't really know how to view what anybody really accomplished. You know, we have slash line, like we know a player's slash, we know their home run totals, but like there was such a bad interpretation of like really when people were looking at a player's slash line, they were looking at a player's batting average, you know. Mm-hmm. And when they were looking at home runs, they look at home runs, but they wouldn't look at stuff like necessarily doubles and how that would affect what, you know, slugging, which they had in 1976, or, you know, pick a year in that area. So there might not have been a good perspective on how to view players that, you know, were huge players for their generation, but maybe didn't get the kind of recognition that they would necessarily deserve because there wasn't a good way to understand their contribution and to be able to preserve that for the long term. Whereas we have that now. And again, I don't know why you wouldn't vote for Albert Pujols. I don't know why you would have a ballot when Pujols is on the ballot in 2027. I don't know why he wouldn't get every single vote. I don't know why he wouldn't be on a ballot. He has no steroids, rumors, like none at all. Obviously, he had a tough last half of his career, but his first half is, I mean, ridiculous. And if Sandy Koufax can get in on a good 7-year stretch, that all of us should be able to. So I couldn't form a single reason why Albert Pujols shouldn't be unanimous, but I still also feel like he won't be.
Can we have an episode where we rank the top 10 players, the 2000s, 2000 to 2010? Because I would love to see how it breaks down.
We could also do 2010 to 2020 since 2010s are over. We have to keep remembering that.
We could, yeah.
Yeah.
Be a fun series.
It
would only be those two because I don't know any players from the 90s.
We could just keep working our way backwards. We could start 2010s and go backwards.
Yeah, but like at that point, we're just picking in order of war.
Absolutely, we are,
because we don't know.
Yeah,
it would be fun to just talk about. But yeah, I think we do that. Let's do that soon before we forget.
Most WAR in the fewest seasons has to be Kid Nichols, who has 116.3 WAR in 15 seasons.
Wow.
Yeah, he played from 1890 to 1906, so he's like barely a real person. All right, so really what's more impressive then is Lou Gehrig's 113.6 WAR in 17 seasons.
That is very true.
Or Mickey Mantle's 110.2 WAR in 18 seasons. Damn, there's some real fucking lunatics on this list. Jesus Christ.
How many seasons has Trout played?
He has played 12. Trout is just about to pass Joe DiMaggio in WAR.
That's impressive.
The people above Joe DiMaggio, I'm keep looking for a name I don't know, and I keep not finding one. So Mike Trout's currently tied for 66th in WAR with Joey D. Above him is Kurt Schilling, Pete Rose, Jeff Bagwell, Tom Glavine, Rod Carew, Nolan Ryan, Mike Messina, John Clarkson, Ken Griffey Jr., Pedro Martinez, Fergie Jenkins, and then Roger Connor. I don't know offhand. But like, man,
whack.
Everyone he's about to pass in his career, like everyone is a name. Oh yeah, Roger Connor played from 1880 to 1897. I have no idea who you are. Career OPS plus of 153.
Jesus Christ.
He played for the Troy Trojans, the New York Gothams, the New York Giants, the Philadelphia Phillies, okay, and the St. Louis Browns.
Yep.
That's fucking funny.
Very damn.
That's very fucking funny. Yeah, so
God, he's so good.
Hopefully the league steps up after the All-Star break. Honestly, like the league should do something for Albert Pujols in the All-Star. Actually, the league did stuff for CeCe on his way out too. I didn't even think about that. And CeCe got to go, like, had to have a part in the All-Star game. I forget what his like unofficial role was in the All-Star game, but they sent him to the All-Star game to, to get him some additional recognition in his farewell tour as well. I completely forgot CeCe had the farewell tour. It was so recent too. Yeah, there's really no reason for Pujols not to have one. That's just so fucking strange. So hopefully we see some of that ramp up after the All-Star break, and it would be great if MLB could do something for Albert at the All-Star break so that he kind of gets a little bit of the like a boost in everyone's mind of like, hey, he's leaving now or never, folks. But I guess we'll see. So, another controversy that is very confusing to understand. Tony La Russa decided to walk Trey Turner the other day in the game against the Dodgers on a 1-2 count. I really don't know what else to say about that because fuck, man, what do you say about that?
Is it actually like a hard thing to understand when it's just, oh yeah, no, Tony La Russa did it. Oh yeah, okay.
I thought you were being a dick because Tony La Russa said basically the same thing. He was like, are people, apparently Tony La Russa was surprised people didn't agree with him, which is
Well, yeah,
Fuck you.
old white man thinks he's right and everyone else wrong. How could anyone disagree with him?
I'm a fucking genius. What are you talking about? I've actually never heard Tony La Russa talk. No, it's not true. I just don't know what his voice is. Um, I mean, look, there is arguments to be made in regards to batting splits, a lefty righty situation, you know, like a more granular analysis of the breakdown of player to player matchups. Fucking what does this batter hit versus what does this pitcher throw? All what stadium are they in? You could start talking about the fucking weather. But honestly, if we're all the way in a 1-2 count, I'm not sure it matters. Really, at that point,
God, no.
And we've talked about this, you and I, quite a bit on the show before.
Mm-hmm.
At that point, when you hit 2 strikes and fewer than 2 balls, when that count is there, no player is especially good. None of them. Obviously, players still hit home runs in that count, get on base, all that type of stuff. Most players aren't doing it, though. It's not a favorable count to be in, obviously.
It's just, I think if you took a survey of every pitcher in baseball, whether or not they would want to face a top tier hitter in an 0-0 count or a 1-2 count, would there be anyone that says 0-0?
Wait, sorry, say that again?
Like if you surveyed all of the pitchers in baseball saying, hey,
Oh, pitchers, right.
You are up against one of the top tier batters. Would you rather face them in an 0-0 count for an entire at bat or start with a 1-2 count?
That's the thing. I don't even think you'd have to even add the qualifier, one of the best hitters. Literally, if you said to a pitcher, hey, would you rather start with a clean slate in a count or come into a batter in a 1-2 count? Every pitcher's picking the 1-2 count for every batter. It could be some fucking schmuck. No pitcher is going to want to start with a clean count. If you can handicap him 2 strikes, why would you? 2 strikes, because every pitcher should feel like I've got a put away pitch. I've got one.
If you don't, you shouldn't be pitching in baseball or MLB.
Yeah, I mean that type of belief in yourself is integral to being a professional athlete, and we're not even talking a severe amount of belief in oneself. I mean, because it raises the question: why did you even let him pitch to Trey Turner in the first place?
Yeah. If you were so scared of him getting a hit, intentionally walk him to start.
Now it happened because the 1 ball was a wild pitch. So Freeman moved to second. So the idea here being that now there's a man on second who could potentially see the signs, because the White Sox are one of the few teams, I believe, who don't use PitchCom. If they do use PitchCom, or if this particular pitcher uses PitchCom, Bennett Sousa, which we haven't really talked about PitchCom on the show, which we might want to at some point. But if they're not using it, if they are using it, then this really makes no fucking sense. If they're not using it, then it still doesn't make much fucking sense, because you had a guy in a 1-2 count. Now, Bennett Sousa is a left-handed pitcher. His stats this year versus right-handed batters, he has allowed an OPS of 731. Against left-handed batters, he's allowed an OPS of 982. I'm going to say that again. He's a left-handed pitcher who has only actually, no, it's pretty evenly split. I take that back. 49 plate appearances for right-handed batters, 41 plate appearances for left-handed batters. He's getting mauled by left-handed batting. Mauled. 731 against righties, 982 against lefties. Trey Turner, who was already up, is a righty. So for Bennett Miller's stats, it would have made more sense for him to stay up against Trey Turner, who is batting worse against lefties this year by a smidge than he is against righties. 821 OPS versus 820.
Mm-hmm.
Basically dead even. And he brought in instead Max Muncy, who is batting worse against left-handed batting. He's a 650 OPS against right-handed pitching and a 524 OPS against left-handed pitching. So he's definitely batting worse against lefties. But again, it raises the point of why even have Trey Turner batting in the first place? For what?
I don't know. I can't explain Tony La Russa in any just seemingly possible category. I am looking over Trey Turner's stats, and it's wild to me that he's only been an all-star once in his career.
Shortstop
stuff. Yeah, I know, but he has some crazy numbers. 2 top 7s in MVP voting, runner-up to Rookie of the Year, who went to Corey Seager, guy he replaced. Right. That's kind of funny. Granted, Corey Seager had a fucking monster year that year, but
he almost won MVP, didn't he?
I have to imagine. 100% vote share, 3rd in MVP.
Yeah, there you go. That'll fucking do it.
Yes, it will. I don't know. Tony La Russa, I think we can both agree, seeing as we've agreed with this since the day he was hired, needs to be gone.
Yeah, there's just one other thing I want to look at. Bear with me, folks. Aha. All right, I got it. Okay. League OPS on the first pitch of an at-bat is tremendous. 908.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Like, damn. I'm actually shocked it's that high. That's huge. 908, which all of it is obviously hitting. You don't walk on the first pitch of the at-bat. So, yeah. 908. League OPS in a 1-2 count is 415.
Oh, buddy.
Half. So that makes insane. This, yeah. So that makes what I'm about to say, probably a little bit, colors it a little bit more because it doesn't seem that bad. So Trey Turner in a 1-2 count has an OPS of 571. And Max Muncy on the first pitch has an OPS of 556. They're actually relatively the same. In fact, Trey Turner's OPS is better on a 1-2 count than Muncy's is on the first pitch, which I think is a little bit too granular because they'd only have so many plate appearances relative to what is a more standard league-wide phenomenon. And so in that respect,
there's also no way Tony La Russa has that information.
Right. And it's also way too granular. And I understand it's way too granular, which is why I would rather look at the league number to get a better understanding of it. Even then, just to paint the fucking picture, why would you do that? And you know what the lowest OPS is? Everyone's OPS, league-wide OPS is over 800 for every single count that is not 2 strike counts. The only OPSs you'll find, league OPS below 800 you'll find, is when there are 2 strikes. That's it. If there's fewer than 2 strikes, everybody's over 800. Most of them are over 900. If you have 2 strikes, it's such a huge advantage. Such a huge advantage. Even the full count OPS is lower than the first pitch OPS. That's how favorable it is to have 2 strikes. It's such a significant advantage.
I feel like the only thing more favorable than having 2 strikes is to have 3.
Fuck you.
Tony La Russa, you are just a special guy that I can't wait.
You are a garbage man.
Boy, I hope he gets a league-wide farewell tour where he is just pelted with tomatoes from the grandstands.
Only tomatoes. I was hoping for feces.
Let's show some respect to the sport. Okay. We don't want Aaron Judge slipping on a turd going for a fly ball.
No, but that would be funny. I think I can admit that would be absolutely hilarious.
If Aaron Judge eats shit on shit.
Quite literally. Yeah, I'll fill that gap.
Oh God. Cool.
All right, just to burn through a couple other things real quick.
Hunter Renfroe signed a 2-year, $32 million extension.
Yeah, seems worth it.
Here's a fun stat for you. 2021, Hunter Renfroe, 1,038 yards, 9 touchdowns, 34.5 million over the next 3 years. Christian Kirk's 2021, 982 yards, 5 touchdowns, 79.5 million over the next 4 years. So there you go on that. I know it's just beating a dead horse at this point, but what a fucking disgusting contract.
I forgot about that contract entirely.
So bad.
Wow. Yeah. No, that completely left my mind.
I love Hunter Renfroe, though. I think he's about as solid. He's a lunch pail kind of guy, comes in, does the work, real workout warrior.
He is white. Yes. In baseball news, there's a new top dog from when we last spoke about WAR leaderboards. It is no longer Manny Machado. He is now third.
Ooh.
The new WAR leader is Sandy Alcantara and Tommy Edman, who each have 3.6 WAR so far in the first half of the season and are on a ridiculous pace. Sammy Alcantara has the most innings pitched in all of MLB, therefore the most batters faced, and he has tied for the most complete games. Additionally, he has a 1.61 ERA and 77 strikeouts to start off the season for the Miami Marlins. It's been a ridiculous year.
Yeah,
Tommy Edman. Yes, Tommy Edman is leading the National League in stolen bases, and otherwise has himself a very tidy 126 OPS plus. But he is really standing out on defense, where he's playing immaculate second and third base defense for the St. Louis Cardinals. And between his good base running, his strong hitting, he has a slash line of 278, 357, and 419. He has put together himself quite the year and has been enough to rocket himself over Manny Machado, which just feels ridiculous on the WAR leaderboard. So shout out to those two guys. Imagine how good your defense has to be. Like Manny Machado has an OPS plus this season of 168 and has a positive DWAR. I can imagine how fucking good your defense has to be to make up over 40 points of OPS plus.
I don't know. I can't. I'm amazed that you can overcome that with purely defense.
What else could it be though, right? Like it's got to be just defense.
Manny Machado is an excellent defender.
Platinum glove.
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah. Behind Machado,
I don't know enough about playing defense in baseball to know how one could be that significantly better.
It's got to be range. Who knows? After Manny Machado is Aaron Judge at 4 and Mike Trout at 5. So the 3 through 5 is the race I think we expected. Some unexpected presences there at the top. Rounding out just our little speed round here at the end, we have 2 owners in 2 sports getting sued by their families. Corwin, you want to start with the Spanos one?
Yeah. Chargers owner Dean Spanos is being sued by his sister D Spanos, which is just Dean without the N, which is preposterous, for alleged misogynistic behavior and repeated breaches of fiduciary duty. Lawsuit was filed in California, calls for him to be removed as co-trustee. Don't have the actual details. The only additional information is that D Spanos claims in her lawsuit that her brothers Dean and Michael Spanos believe to their cores that regardless of what their parents intended and their wills specified, men are in charge and women should shut up. So, par for the course amongst NFL owners. Just another reason to tear them down.
every time you hear another thing, it's like, oh, it's like, oh, I forget how much you guys fucking blow. And then they do something, you're like, ah, yeah, there it is. I forgot. Like, that's still wild to hear. But I'm not surprised, but it is a reminder. I guess I keep needing about how much you all blow. On the other side of things, in baseball, John Angelos has been accused by his brother Lou of seizing control of the Baltimore Orioles. So last week, Baltimore Orioles CEO John Angelos was accused in a lawsuit of seizing control of the team at the expense of his brother Lou and in defiance of their father Peter's wishes. Peter Angelos became the Orioles owner in 1993, but his public role has been diminished. Apparently, John Angelos is working as the club's chairman and CEO, while Peter and Lou are listed on the team's website as part of its limited ownership group. So that's where Lou believes that he is owner and is apparently accusing John is accusing Lou of taking control of their father's estate against his wishes. So really just rich people squabbles that I'm not sure would really change anything.
I think when your net worth is over X amount of dollars, anytime you sue another person worth X amount of dollars, civil court should just be taken out of the equation. I want to see gladiator type fights. I want those two old fat men to get into a ring with spears and pikes and just go after each other.
Yeah, at that point, it's like, I don't even.
You're going to fight for that much money, earn it, you know?
So Peter Angelos's net worth I have at $2 billion.
Of course.
His son John's net worth I have at $2 billion. And his other son Lou's net worth I also have as $2 billion. So everyone's net worth here is $2 billion. Which really just sounds like
Do you think it's all
no
the
one knows
same
anything.
$2 billion?
I think it's the same $2 billion.
Yeah.
Yeah, I vote that we do a split it in half, like cut the baby in half kind of thing, with half of it going to publicly funded resources and the other half going to Baltimore Orioles payroll, and we'll just let them duke it out from there.
All of a sudden, the Baltimore Orioles payroll jumps to $1 billion, and the MLB
you know
is incapable of calculating the luxury tax. So it's just, fuck it. You want to spend $1 billion, spend $1 billion.
That's an episode for us. What does the $1 billion payroll look like?
You have a piece of paper. Can you write this stuff down?
I'm a grown man. How do I not have paper? All right, I got paper. I have no pen. I'm an adult with a desk. How do I not have a pen?
I'm sitting on a couch, so I have more excuses.
All right, I'm just gonna send myself an email.
Top 10 players of the decade, $1 billion payroll, and whatever I texted you like a month ago that we immediately forgot about, even though I was
absolutely forgot about that.
Very in depth on.
It was relegation, right?
Oh yeah, what a great idea! Good job, Corwin.
All right, we'll keep all those things in mind for later. Okay, all right. In that case, I think that's our full roundup. Yeah, Corwin and I have got to get jumping and bumping, but that's it. Next episode, we'll probably talk about All-Star voting, which has officially opened. So we'll get into that for our next one to see, kind of where we stand, or where the league stands, I should say, in terms of how the various positional players have shaped up and who we would potentially theoretically vote for the pitchers. Pitcher voting obviously not open to the public. It is decided by managers and teams, but regardless. So stay tuned for that next week. In the meantime, if you'd like to follow the show on Twitter, you can do so at JuicingPod. If you'd like to follow Corwin on Twitter, you can do so at Corwin Heller. If you'd like to follow myself on Twitter, you can do so at Joshua D. Tracy. If you'd like to send emails to the show, you can do so at juicingthenumbers@gmail.com. And until Thursday, y'all have a good one.
Bye.